The hour of convening having arrived, all members of the House will please take their seats. All members of this House will please report to the floor and take your seats. The clerk will ring the bell. All members will report to the floor of the House. We are going to have the morning roll call. All members present will please vote green to signify their presence in the chamber, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines. Well, good morning. Doorkeepers will please close the doors and keep them closed. When we have our devotion this morning, the chair would ask that you keep in your minds and hearts the family of former Representative Mickey Chanel, who we lost last night after an extended illness. We'll have more on that later in the morning. I think this would be appropriate, yeah. Thank you. We will begin our day with scripture reading and prayer by the chaplain, after which we will pledge allegiance to the flag of our country. Our chaplain this morning will be introduced by the lady from the 93rd House District, Representative Darshun Kendrick. Representative Kendrick.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and good morning, colleagues. Today I have the pleasure of introducing my pastor, Lee May, of Transforming Faith Church, or TFC. TFC combines the two things that I love, my faith and my love of small businesses, as it is a startup church. But before I read his bio, I wanted to let you know that Pastor May was one of the first elected officials that endorsed me when I ran for this position back in 2010, and so I know he has very good judgment. So Pastor May is a former business owner and elected official. And in 2017, Pastor May started a new church in DeKalb County, Georgia called Transforming Faith Church, with weekly services held at the Performing Arts Center of Southwest DeKalb High School. May was appointed interim chief executive officer of DeKalb County by then Governor Nathan Deal in July of 2013 and served in that role until December of 2016. Prior to his executive appointment, he served on the DeKalb County Board of Commissioners, having been elected in July of 2006. He was then re-elected twice by an overwhelming majority of the voters in the 5th Commission District, leading him to write a book entitled My God, My Politics, a discussion on faith and politics. He's the son of a pastor, a graduate of Emory University School of Theology, holding a Master's of Divinity degree, as well as a BA in Business Administration from the historic Clark Atlanta University. He is married to his college sweetheart, Robin, and the father of 3 beautiful daughters, Ryan, Reagan, and Riley. And if you come on most Sundays, you can see me serving donuts and coffee. But without further ado, Pastor May.
Thank you, Representative Darshan Kendrick. She literally is my representative, and I do feel like I have good judgment because I really support her in so many things that she does, and I think she's serving us well in this great, great body. Mr. Speaker, thank you for having me, and thank you for your friendship and support over the years as well. Again, my name is Lee May, and I am a reformed politician. I got some Jesus in me. And so God has transitioned me out of the world of elected office into the world of ministry. And we started our church in 2017. It's called Transforming Faith Church as our member. Yes, she is a member. And as she has told many of you all, she does go to church. And she is a faithful member of our church. And what you all have told me is that we need to pray for her. So if you would all stretch our hands to our representative. I won't be with you long, but it truly is an honor to be here this morning. And one of my favorite scriptures and in the Bible is in the Old Testament. It's out of the book of Nehemiah, and I love that. It's a great book of wisdom on leadership and coming together and working together, and it's really a story of building walls. Then I thought better about coming here today and talk about building walls, and the Lord gave me a little wisdom. So we won't talk about building walls here today, especially after what I understood happened yesterday. So the Lord is giving me a different scripture, and it's really about talking about the diversity of one body. And it's out of the book of Corinthians, 1 Corinthians chapter 12. And this is a letter that the Apostle Paul was writing to the people of Corinth. Corinth is really in the modern day Greece. And it's a letter that he's writing to the body of believers in that nation at that time. He had heard that they were dividing themselves. They were separating themselves in that nation. They had figured out different ways to remove themselves from each other. The north side from the south side, east side from the west side, Democrats from Republicans, white from black. Yeah, I'm taking a little luxury in my reading of this verse, but what he is saying in this letter to the Corinthians is, you are one body. You're one body. And he was really leaning into them to show them how, being many members, you are yet one body. And I think that's a message that is apropos for this morning. You all are one body. You're one body. Yes, you're from different counties, different jurisdictions, different backgrounds, different stories, different history, different baggages that you bring to this body. But you're one body of different members. And I know more than any that would rise up to this podium the challenge in that, because you were elected as one member. You were elected by different constituents with different challenges, different needs. They want you to represent certain things in this body, but yet you come to Atlanta, Georgia, 40 days, although I still don't know how you get 40 days out of all the days that you all are here. You're elected to come here and serve one body. The one body is the state of Georgia, yet representing different members. So Paul said this in 1 Corinthians 12:4. He said, there are a diversities of gifts, but the same Spirit, one Spirit. There are differences of ministries, but the same Lord. And there are diversities of activities, but it is the same God who works in all. Yes, you're different members, representing different constituencies, representing different interests. But our role, your role here is to come together and figure out how to bring the differences that you represent into one body for the good of the whole, for the good of this great state of Georgia. So here's the thing. Paul is really talking to them about what a healthy body really looks like. What does a healthy body look like? It looks like diversity. It looks different than you. It does. It's taller than you. It's shorter than you. It's darker than you. It's heavier than you. It's older than you. It's younger than you. It's a diversity of gifts, but yet they're gifts. Paul says this. He says this in verse 12, for as the body is one and has many members, but all the members of that one body, being many, are one body, so also is Christ. Your gifts are to come together for the good of the one body. So yes, you have differences of policy. You have differences in approach to government. Yes, we get that. We know that. We're all different. But if we can remember this one body that we are called to, not your own individual interests, but this one body, the greater good of this body, and embracing the gifts of each member of this body. Then he says this in verse 15. He says, if the foot should say, because I am not a hand, I am not of the body, is it therefore not of the body? And if the ear should say, because I am not an eye, I am not of the body, is it therefore not of the body? The whole body were an eye, where would be the hearing? If the whole were hearing, where would be the smelling? Yeah, some of us would love for this whole body to be Republicans. Some of us would love for it all to be Democrats. But what good would that be for this great state? See, there's strength, there is wisdom, there is giftings in our differences. And yes, we can debate, we can go hard after our beliefs, but yet we are all bringing different gifts to this body. So a healthy body is diverse. It's one, but yet it's many. Then a healthy body is a trusting body. That despite your differences, despite your different interests, despite the places that you come from, you trust that everyone has the greater good of this state in mind. Because see, if you can trust that although we differ on policy and approach to government, if we can trust that we all have the interests of this one body, this state in mind, then we could trust that we all can move forward. Yes, maybe not always getting our own interests moving forward, because elections do have consequences, right? That is a reality. But if we can work together, understanding that we all have gifts that we're bringing to the table, then we will be a truly healthy body, truly reflecting this great state of Georgia, truly having the interests of the whole in mind as we are charged to represent the individual members. So let us keep that in mind today as we continue to do the people's business, that we are all one body, yet many members. If we would stand up and let's pray together, if we would. God, we thank you for your wisdom. We thank you for your love for us, God. We thank you for the differences amongst this body. We thank you that we even think differently, God, because the same God made us all different, God, and we thank you for that. God, our prayer today is that we would learn to be individual members, yet one body all at the same time. God, we know that's a difficult measure to take, God, but we know that if we look to you, that we embrace the diversities amongst this body. If we trust one another and remember that we're all here to serve one body, God, with your strength, we can do all things, you said, through Christ who strengthens me. So, God, we thank you for loving us, for covering us, for keeping us, for giving us the strength to do what you've called for each and every one of us to do. Bless this meeting today. Let the people's business be accomplished today. Let us do it together in unity and love towards one another. Today we pray this prayer In your name we pray. Let us all say amen together. Amen. If we could say the Pledge of Allegiance together. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
That was great. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Always good to see you. Doorkeepers will unlock the doors. Chair recognizes Chairman Darlene Taylor, the chair of the Committee on Information and Audits.
Speaker, your Committee on Information and Audits have read the proceedings of the previous legislative day and found them to be correct.
Chairman Taylor, the chair of the Committee on Information and Audits, reports that the journal of the previous legislative day has been read and found to be correct. Is there any objection to the confirmation of the journal? The chair hears none, and the journal is confirmed. The clerk will read the resolution establishing the order of business for the day.
Mr. Burns, on the 59th, moves following be established as the order of business during the first part of the period. Unanimous consents. Introduction to bills and resolutions. First reading and reference of House bills and resolutions. Second reading of bills and resolutions. Reports of standing committees. Third reading and passage of uncontested local bills and resolutions. First reading and reference of Senate bills and resolutions. Morning orders.
Is there any objection to the adoption of the resolution establishing the order of business for the day? The chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted. First reading of bills and resolutions. The clerk will read.
House Bill 486 by Representative Washburn of the 141st, Powell of the 32nd, Williams of the 145th, Mathis of the 144th, Hill of the 3rd, and others. Bill being titled an act to amend Chapter 14 and Title 43 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated, relating new electrical contractors.
Regulated industries.
House Bill 487 by Representative Bonner of the 72nd, Belton of the 112th, Clark of the 147th, Nix of the 69th, Morris of the 26th. Bill being titled an act to amend Article 6 of Chapter 3, Title 38 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated, relating to the Disaster Volunteer Relief Act.
Public safety and homeland security.
House Bill 488 by Representative Montahan of the 17th, Corbett of the 174th, LaHood of the 175th, Hitchens of the 161st, Harrell of the 106th, and others. Bill being titled an act to prevent organized retail crime.
Judiciary non-civil.
House Bill 489 by Representative Taylor, 173rd. A bill being titled an act to amend Title 16 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated, relating to crimes and offenses.
Juvenile justice.
House Bill 490 by Representative Ridley of the 6th, Rhodes of the 120th, Gamble of the 15th, Petrie of the 166th, and Kelly of the 16th. Bill being titled an act to amend Part 12, Article 1 of Chapter 1 of Title 7, the Official Code of Georgia annotated, relating to deposits of deceased depositors.
Banks and banking.
House Bill 492 by Representative Rich of the 97th, Moore of the 95th, Wilson of the 80th. The bill being titled an act to amend Article 3, Chapter 7 of Title 44 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated, relating to dispensary proceedings.
Judiciary.
House Bill 493 by Representative Tanner of the 9th, Harold the 106th, Stevens 164th, Powell the 32nd, Lumsden of the 12th. Bill being titled an act to amend Chapter 2 of Title 8 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated, relating to standards and requirements for construction.
Regulated industries.
House Bill 494 by Representative Buckner of the 137th, Spirey 135th, Smith 134th, Hughley of the 136th, Smith, the 133rd. Bill being titled an act to amend Code Section 48.7, 29.8 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to tax credits.
Ways and Means.
House Bill 495 by Representative Pruitt of the 149th, Werkheiser the 157th, Jones of the 25th, Donahue the 30th, Park of the 101st. Bill being titled an act to amend Chapter 8 of Title 34 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to employment security.
Industry and Labor.
House Bill 496 by Representative Hobson of the 153rd, Paris of the 142nd, Wilson of the 80th, Wynn of the 89th, Bodie of the 62nd. Bill being titled an act to amend Part 2 of Article 6 of Chapter 2 of Title 20 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to competencies and core curriculum.
Education.
House Bill 497 by Representative Rich of the 97th, Fleming of the 121st, Gaines of the 117th, and Wiedauer of the 119th. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 12 of Title 53 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to trusts.
Banks and Banking.
House Bill 498 by Representative Chilkus of the 138th. Bill being titled an act to amend Article 2, Chapter 7, Title 48 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to the imposition rate computation exemptions from state income tax.
Ways and Means.
House Bill 499 by Representative Kelly of the 16th, England the 116th, Dickey the 140th, Bentley the 139th, Watson the 172nd. Bill being titled an act to amend Article 4 of Chapter 3 of Title 46, the official code of Georgia annotated relating to electric membership corporations.
Energy, Utilities, and Telecommunications.
House Bill 500 by Representative Chokas of the 138th and Reinders of the 152nd. Bill being titled an act to repeal an act creating a public body, corporate, and politic.
Intergovernmental Coordination.
House Bill 501 by Representative Petrie of the 166th, Hogan of the 179th, Stevens of the 164th, Williams of the 168th, Saints of the 180th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 4 of Chapter 4, Title 27, the official code of Georgia annotated relating to seafood.
Game, Fish, and Parks.
House Bill 502 by Representative Welch of the 110th. Bill being titled an act to amend Article 7, Chapter 10 of Title 9, and Article 2 of Chapter 8 of Title 17, the official code of Georgia annotated relating to continuances.
Judiciary.
House Bill 503 by Representative Bernal of the 77th, Stovall of the 74th, Scott of the 76th. The bill being titled an act to amend Article 2, Chapter 3 of Title 6, the official code of Georgia annotated relating to powers of local governments.
Governmental Affairs.
House Bill 504 by Representative Bernal of the 77th, Stovall of the 74th, Scott of the 76th. Bill being titled an act to amend Part 1 of Article 2, Chapter 5 of Title 48 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to property tax exemptions.
Ways and Means.
House Resolution 368 by Representative Smith, the 134th, Smiley, the 135th, Hughley, the 136th, Buckner, the 137th, and Smith, the 133rd. A resolution urging the construction of Interstate 14.
Transportation.
House Resolution 369 by Representative Wilson of the 80th, Hughley, the 136th, Holly, the 111th, Trammell, the 132nd, Holcomb, the 81st, and others. A resolution proposing an amendment to the Constitution to provide that legislative and congressional reapportionment.
Legislative and Congressional Reapportionment.
House Resolution 370 by Representative Jones of the 53rd, a resolution honoring the life of Mr. Edward Ed Menifee and dedicating a bridge in his memory.
Transportation.
House Resolution 378 by Representative Stevens, the 164th, Smiley, 135th, and Harrell, the 106th. A resolution proposing amendment to the Constitution so as to provide that all forms of betting, bingo game, and raffles.
Regulated Industries.
House Resolution by Representative Evans of the 83rd, Oliver, the 82nd, Smiley, 135th, Hughley, the 136th, Frazier, 126th, and others. A resolution urging the United States Congress to impose limits on the President's first-use nuclear strike capabilities.
Special Rules.
Senate Bill 18 by Senator Kirkpatrick of the 32nd, Jones of the 25th, Watson the 1st, Burke of the 11th, Harbison of the 15th, and others. Bill being titled an act to amend Chapter 7 of Title 33, the official code of Georgia annotated relating to kinds of insurance.
Insurance.
Senate Bill 106 by Senator Tillery of the 19th, Strickland of the 17th, Miller of the 49th, Dugan of the 30th, Kennedy of the 18th, and others. Bill being titled an act to amend Article 7, Chapter 4, Title 49, and Title 33, the official code of Georgia annotated relating to medical assistance and insurance.
Special Committee on Access to Quality Health Care.
Senate Bill 115 by Senator Unterman of the 45th, Walker of the 20th, Burke of the 11th, Beach of the 21st, and Gooch of the 51st, and others. Bill be titled Act to amend Article 2, Chapter 34, and Title 43 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to the Medical Practice Act of the State of Georgia.
Health and Human Services.
Senate Bill 118 by Senator Unnerman of the 45th, Huffstetler the 52nd, Burke of the 11th, Walker the 20th, Kirk of the 13th, and others. Bill be titled Act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 24 of Title 33 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to insurance generally.
Insurance.
That completes first readers.
Second reading of bills and resolutions. The clerk will read.
House Bill 457 by Representative Jones of the 25th, Cantrell of the 22nd, Smith of the 134th, and Carson of the 46th, a bill relating to general provisions regarding equipment of motor vehicles. House Bill 458 by Representative Gullett of the 19th, Burns of the 159th, Barr of the 103rd, Smith of the 133rd, Moore of the 95th, and others, a bill relating to regulation of fire and other hazards to persons and property generally. House Bill 459 by Representative Earhart of the 36th, Carson of the 46th, Dempsey of the 13th, Cooper of the 43rd, and Gaines of the 117th, a bill relating to school buses. House Bill 460 by Representative Robichaud of the 48th, McLaurin of the 51st, Jones of the 47th, and Martin of the 49th, a bill to authorize the governing authority of the City of Roswell to levy an excise tax. House Bill 461 by Representative Cannon of the 58th, Dreyer of the 59th, Schofield of the 60th, McLaurin of the 51st, Stevens of the 165th, a bill relating to property tax exemptions. House Bill 462 by Representative Smith of the 70th, Bonner of the 72nd, Stover of the 71st, and Trammell of the 132nd, a bill to amend an act providing a homestead exemption from Coweta County School District ad valorem taxes. House Bill 463 by Representative Montahan of the 17th, Powell of the 32nd, Carpenter of the 4th, Bonner of the 72nd, Gravely of the 67th, and others, a bill relating to motor vehicles and traffic. House Bill 464 by Representative Montahan of the 17th, Hatchett of the 150th, Jaspers of the 11th, Kelly of the 16th, Hill of the 3rd, and others, a bill relating to local boards of education. House Bill 465 by Representative Parsons of the 44th, Drenner of the 85th, Smith of the 70th, a bill relating to public utilities and public transportation. House Bill 466 by Representative Carson of the 46th, Earhart of the 36th, Dollar of the 45th, a bill relating to general provisions regarding selection and qualification of candidates and presidential electors. House Bill 467 by Representative Carson of the 46th, Earhart of the 36th, Parson of the 44th, and Dollar of the 45th, a bill to provide future elections for the office of Clerk of the Superior Court of Cobb County shall be nonpartisan elections. House Bill 468 by Representative Carson of the 46th, Earhart of the 36th, Parson of the 44th, Dollar of the 45th, a bill to provide future elections of the office of Clerk of the State Court of Cobb County shall be nonpartisan elections. House Bill 469 by Representative Dollar of the 45th, Powell of the 32nd, Jaspers of the 11th, and Anulowicz of the 42nd, a bill relating to property. House Bill 473 by Representative Park of the 101st, Trammell of the 132nd, Schofield of the 60th, Wynn of the 89th, Wilson of the 80th, and others, a bill relating to imposition rate, computation, and exemption from income tax. House Bill 474 by Representative Kirby of the 114th, Kelly of the 16th, McLean of the 100th, Jones of the 91st, a bill relating to workers' compensation. House Bill 475 by Representative Dreyer of the 59th, Shannon of the 84th, Schofield of the 60th, Bodie of the 62nd, Cannon of the 58th, and others, a bill relating to inmate policies. House Bill 476 by Representative Stowell of the 74th, Stevens of the 164th, Belton of the 112th, and Jones of the 25th, a bill relating to compulsory attendance for students in elementary secondary education. House Bill 477 by Representative Stevens of the 164th, a bill relating to definitions regarding public swimming pools. House Bill 478 by Representative Ballinger of the 23rd, a bill relating to Central Child Abuse Registry. House Bill 479 by Representative Clark of the 147th, Cantrell of the 22nd, Smith of the 134th, England of the 116th, Setzer of the 35th, and others, bill to provide greater protections for individuals who have suffered from childhood sexual abuse. House Bill 480 by Representative Scoggins of the 14th, Gamble of the 15th, Powell of the 32nd, Tarvin of the 32nd, Williamson of the 115th, and others, bill relating to general provisions regarding telephone service. House Bill 481 by Representative Setzer of the 35th, Lott of the 122nd, Taylor of the 173rd, Bonner of the 72nd, Earhart of the 36th, and others, a bill relating to persons and their rights. House Bill 482 by Representative Dollar of the 45th, Martin of the 49th, a bill relating to uniform property tax administration and equalization. House Bill 483 by Representative Stevens of the 164th and Parrish of the 158th, a bill relating to controlled substances. House Bill 484 by Representative Welch of the 110th, a bill relating to liens. House Bill 485 by Representative Welch of the 110th, a bill relating to judicial accounting. House Bill 491 by Representative Taylor of the 173rd, Smith of the 134th, Lumsden of the 12th, Hawkins of the 27th, Blackman of the 146th, a bill relating to insurance holding company systems. House Resolution 346 by Representative Tankersley of the 160th, Carson of the 46th, Hitchens of the 161st, Burns of the 159th, and Parrish of the 158th. The resolution honoring the lives of Caitlin Baggett, Morgan Bass, Emily Clark, Abby Deloche, and Catherine McKay Pittman, and dedicating a bridge in their memory. House Resolution 367 by Representative Pullen of the 131st, a resolution urging Georgia school districts to have an emergency medical technician present during all full contact sporting events. Senate Bill 43 by Senator Payne of the 54th, Mullis of the 53rd, Miller of the 49th, Kennedy of the 18th, Gooch of the 51st, and others, a bill relating to revenue bonds. Senate Bill 66 by Senator Gooch of the 51st, Gannon of the 47th, Lucas of the 26th, Duggan of the 30th, Cowsert of the 46th, and others, a bill relating to local government. Senate Bill 68 by Senator Sims of the 12th, Wilkinson of the 50th, Parents of the 42nd, Walker of the 3rd of the 20th, Karen Shack of the 48th, and others, a bill relating to education. Senate Bill 73 by Senator Harper of the 7th, Alberts of the 56th, Gooch of the 51st, Mullis of the 53rd, Robertson of the 29th, and others, a bill relating to policy and procedure relative to pretrial intervention and diversion programs, revenues collected from fines and fees relative to the Peace Officers Annuity and Benefit Fund. Senate Bill 87 by Senator Tillery of the 19th, a bill to amend an act providing membership of Toombs County Development Authority. Senate Bill 89 by Senator Parrott of the 42nd, Henson of the 41st, Butler of the 55th, Davenport of the 44th, Anderson of the 43rd, and others, a bill to amend an act providing a new charter for the city of Decatur. 3 second readers.
Reports of standing committees. The clerk will read.
Representative Terry England of the 116th District, Chairman of the Committee on Appropriations, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Appropriations has had under consideration the following bill of the House and has instructed me to report the same back to the House with the following recommendation. House Bill 31, due pass by committee substitute, respectfully submitted. Representative Terry England of the 116th District, Chairman. Representative Sharon Cooper of the 43rd District, Chairman of the Committee on Health and Human Services, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Health and Human Services has had under consideration the following bills and resolutions of the House and has instructed me to report the same back to the House with the following recommendations. House Bill 233, due pass by committee substitute. House Bill 345, due pass by committee substitute. House Resolution 261, due pass by committee substitute. Respectfully submitted, Representative Sharon Cooper, the 43rd District, Chairman. Representative Jan Tankersley, the 160th District, Chairman on the Committee on Intergovernmental Coordination Local, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Intergovernmental Coordination Local has had under consideration the following bills of the House and Senate. It has instructed me to report the same back to the House with the following recommendations. House Bill 380, due pass. House Bill 453, due pass. Senate Bill 5, due pass. House Bill 423, due pass. House Bill 430, due pass. House Bill 431, due pass. Respectfully submitted, Representative Jan Tankersley, the 160th District, Chairman. Representative Barry Fleming of the 121st District, Chairman on the Committee on Judiciary, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Judiciary has had under consideration the following bills of the House. It has instructed me to report the same back to the House with the following recommendations. House Bill 396, due pass by substitute. House Bill 239, due pass by substitute. Respectfully submitted, Representative Barry Fleming of the 121st District, Chairman. Representative Powell of the 32nd District, Chairman of the Committee on Regulated Industries, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Regulated Industries has had under consideration the following bills of the House and has instructed me to report the same back to the House with the following recommendations. House Bill 76, due pass by substitute. House Bill 242, due pass by substitute. House Bill 253, due pass by substitute. House Bill 328, due pass by substitute. Respectfully submitted, Representative Powell of the 32nd District, Chairman. That completes the reading of the reports of standing committees.
We are going on now to the local calendar. Third reading and passage of uncontested local bills. 3 bills on the local calendar relate to homestead exemption and require a recorded 2/3 roll call vote for passage. If there is no objection, we will vote on the local calendar as a whole with a recorded vote. Hearing none, it is so ordered. The clerk will read the local calendar.
House Bill 380 by Representative Tanner, the 9th, City of Dawsonville. House Bill 453 by Representative Bruce, the 61st, Douglas County. Senate Bill 5 by Senator Anderson, the 24th, Lincoln County. House Bill 423 by Representative Bazemore, the 63rd, City of South Fulton. House Bill 430 by Representative Martin of the 49th, City of Alpharetta. House Bill 431 by Representative Martin of the 49th, City of Alpharetta.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered on the local calendar? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bills? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall these bills now pass? All those in favor of the passage of the bills on the local calendar will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the passage of the bills on the local calendar. The ayes are 157. The nays are 0. These bills, having received the requisite constitutional majority, are therefore passed.
House is moving on to morning orders. Please give your attention to the speakers. The chair calls on Speaker Ralston for a morning order. Excuse me.
Once again, thank you, Madam Speaker. Once again, it's I come here. It seems like I do this too often recently, to mourn the passing of a member or a former member. We got word last night that former representative and former Ways and Means Chairman Mickey Chanel had gone on, and I thought it was appropriate that I come down and share a few words about Mickey. Mickey was one of a kind. I don't know many people who loved as Mickey did. He loved his family. He loved his state. He loved this house. And he loved the Georgia Bulldogs. There's so many stories about Mickey, but I always have to start with the one. Mickey grew up in an era. Nowadays, you know, Georgia Tech people say we're for Georgia unless we're playing them. And Georgia people say the same thing. It didn't used to be that way. If you were a Georgia Bulldog, you hated Georgia Tech. And if you were a Tech person, you hated the University of Georgia. And Mickey was in that category. Mickey used to say, if Tech was playing Russia, I would be for Russia. So one day, several years ago, a friend of his called and said, "Your dream has come true. Tomorrow night, Georgia Tech's basketball team is playing the Russian national team at the Alexander Memorial Coliseum." Mickey says, "Well, I know who I'm for." And he would always tell the story that the day after that game, the Russian team won, one of the happiest days of his life. Mickey, though, was a brutally honest person. There was no backstabbing in Mickey. If he was going to come at you, he was going to come at you from the front. I had the great honor, along with Chairman Smyrie and Leader Burns and the Speaker Pro Tem and others in the room, to work with Mickey back about 6, 7 years ago on the tax reform. And Mickey could get very impatient with lobbyists. And you could only push him so far. And so when they would push and push, and everybody in the hall was hired by somebody on tax reform. It was the Lobbyist Full Employment Act of that year. And so Mickey finally, he came in the office one day and he says, "We're just going to have to get him in here." So I said, "Okay." He brought him in, several of the lobbyists, and he read the Riot Act to them. I learned a lot about that, the Riot Act, from Mickey. You know what? They went out, and it wasn't about 10 minutes, and they had a compromise on some points. But he served with great distinction and great honor. He was a friend to many, many in this body. I miss him still. He's been gone now for a few years, and we knew his health was declining. But I just want to say on behalf of this body, to Carolyn and to the family, that we will never forget Mickey Chanel, and that we're better because our paths crossed with his. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Chair recognizes Representative Rhodes for a morning order.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I too come this morning with a heavy heart, and I think it's quite evident that the Speaker and I know the same gentleman. Last evening we lost a true friend, a public servant. Mickey Chanel was the ultimate statesman. He loved his family, his hometown, the state of Georgia, and the Georgia Bulldogs. Did you steal my line? He did. He loved the dogs. But Mickey firmly believed in public service and putting others above self. His gifts to our community in this state spanned over 4 decades. He started on the Greene County Board of Education. He moved on to chair our county commission and proudly served this body for 22 years. One of the greatest gifts that we give as public servants is to leave this place better than it was before us, to leave a legacy that transcends time, and Mickey did that. The footprint he left us at home and in our community will be seen for generations to come, and one of his proudest moments is the one that has served the children of our state for many years and will continue to do so for many more. Mickey was the father of peach care here in our state. Mickey was loved by many. He was the friend, a confidant, and mentor to many in this chamber and many outside the ropes. One of his greatest qualities was his way with words. He always seemed to say the right thing at the right moment. And those that know him know that he had a quote for every occasion. And one that I think of every time I walk through the doors of this beautiful chamber is one he told me every time we visited when I came home. And he said, Trey, take the job serious and your people serious, but not yourself. And that quote symbolized the way Mickey served his community and his constituents in this state. And I just want to say to Miss Carolyn, to Sarah Lynn, Laura, Mel, and Carrie, thank you for sharing us. Thank you for sharing him with us for so many years. Thank you. Can we just have a brief moment of silence? Thank you.
Chair recognizes Representative Kausha for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm here today to recognize Student Leadership Johns Creek, a 2-year program for emerging high school student leaders from 4 high schools in Johns Creek, and a few of them are here with us today in the gallery. The students provide exemplary role models for civic engagement and service learning. They complete 8 community projects each year, and many local organizations have benefited from their efforts, including North Fulton Community Charities, Drake House, as well as assisted and memory care facilities throughout Johns Creek. They also host a senior device training event that is facilitated by AT&T and provides seniors with training on cell phones, tablets, and more. And that is very popular among the seniors and the students. One of their specialties is organizing debates. They hosted the first ever mayoral and city council debate in the state of Georgia to be fully organized by high school students, and they also organized the only debate for State House candidates in House District 50 in 2018. Now, if there is anyone in the house here who needs debate practice, I can assure you from personal experience, these students will not go easy on you. Many students move out to outstanding academic careers and are attending or have attended University of Georgia, Georgia Tech, UCLA, Vanderbilt, Brown University, Harvard, Yale University, MIT, Georgetown University, West Point, and many more. I think I have to mention UGA, to be fair. I'm truly honored to recognize these hardworking students for their positive impact in my district and beyond, and please give them a heartfelt applause for their outstanding accomplishments. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very nice.
Do we want to go for a picture right now?
Sure.
Chair recognizes Representative Sharper for a morning order.
Thank you, Speaker. My moment in Black history is from the person that sings this song. Georgia, Georgia, the whole day through. Just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. Keeps Georgia on my mind. Thank you. Ray Charles Robinson was born in Albany, Georgia on September the 23rd, 1930 and died on June 10th, 2004. Ray Charles was an American singer, songwriter, musician, and composer. Ray started losing his vision at age of 5, and by 7 he was blind. Ray performed for several presidents. In April 1979, his version of Georgia on My Mind was proclaimed the state song of Georgia. An emotional Charles performed the song on the floor of the state legislature. In 1979, Charles was one of the first musicians born in the state to be inducted into the Georgia Music Hall of Fame. In 1981, he was given a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and in 1986 was one of the first inductees to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in its inaugural ceremony. There's a statue of Ray Charles by Andy Davis in the Ray Charles Plaza in Albany, Georgia. He had several hit songs: Mess Around, What I Say, of course, Georgia on My Mind, Hit the Road, Jack, One Minute Julep, Unchain My Heart, I Can't Stop Loving You, and one more. I got a woman way over town. Come on, y'all. That's good to me. Oh, yeah. I got a woman. Y'all can sing with me. Way over town. That's good to me. Oh, yeah. You know what? She gives me money when I'm in need. Oh, she's a kind friend in need. I got a woman way over town that's good to me. Oh, yeah.
Chair recognizes Representative Elmadi Holly for a morning order. Representative, you don't have to match that.
I know. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I doubt I have the voice. Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today I rise to tell you, this body here, about our House Resolution number 345. H.R. 345 is a proposed amendment to our state constitution to give every legal adult in Georgia the right to vote by moving the voting age to 17, the legal age of adulthood in Georgia. Only yesterday, members of this body approved a measure to increase the legal age to marry from 16 to 17. That was just yesterday. The impetus for this measure, as stated by our colleagues in the House, was that at age 17, they are adults. That said, I encourage all members of this body to support this measure and ensure all legal age adults of Georgia are exercising their right to vote. On a final note, I'd like to provide this body with just a brief. No, don't do it? Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Okay. All right, thank you. I apologize. Well, thank you. I'll be having a, can I announce in terms of? All right. All right. Thank you for this opportunity. We'll have a press conference today at 4 p.m. at the bottom first floor. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Representative Matthew Gamble for a morning order.
Thank you, members. Mr. Speaker, members of the House. Today we have the Cartersville-Bartow County Chamber of Commerce Youth Leadership class with us. And they were in the gallery a little while ago, but they had to leave to go downstairs to take a photo with the governor. But I did want to recognize them for being here today. So thank you for the opportunity.
Chair recognizes Chairman Randy Nix for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm going to wait till Representative Collins get here. We're going to sing. Yeah. You start.
Take my hand.
We're here today to recognize some really fantastic Georgians. We're proud to have the Carroll County Chamber group with us today. So if y'all stand up and be recognized, please, if you're still in. Here they are over here. These are some outstanding leaders from the community. You've got somebody from just about every walk of life there, from our educators to our medical community to the EMCs, and I just appreciate what they do. That's a great organization. They do some great things for Carroll County, so thank y'all for being here.
Chair recognizes Representative Park Cannon for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to bring attention to some individuals who are in the gallery. If you'll please stand. Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to improve the lives of women around the world and to promote community service, civil, and social action. They were founded in 1922, and one of their founding organizational projects is Project Reassurance. It's geared towards improving prenatal care for teen mothers. Additionally, Operation Big Book Bag, which provides school supplies and tutoring to different facilities across the nation. I want to thank the Golden Alert members who are here today, one of their enterprises that focuses on legislative action. I'd like to commend Miss Brenda, who is here today, Miss Noreen, Miss Cannon, and our former representative, Abdul Salam. Thank you so much for being here. Please commend these wonderful women here. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Representative Schofield for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members of the House that are wearing a cape today, join us down front. I know I'm a little extra. Today I have the honor of recognizing a group of people that travel from across the state that are living with lupus. They are in the gallery. Lupus is an autoimmune disease that we may look fine on the outside, but inside we are struggling every day to make it. So first of all, I want to acknowledge the group that is in the gallery, if they would stand. And more importantly, I want you group to know, my lupus community, that legislators here on the General Assembly, the State House representatives, we stand with you. We fight for you. We are today your lupus heroes. Take a look at this. We've got capes to honor you, the 10 years of sacrifice to come down to this Capitol. We're showing you today how much we appreciate and we will fight for you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I yield the well. Thank you, colleagues.
Chair recognizes Chairman Matt Dollar for a morning order.
Join us on the House floor immediately upon adjournment for a group picture.
Kim, when you want to take a picture now?
No, upon adjournment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special young man here today. If he will, I think he might be standing. There he is. He's right there in the center. Thomas Trey Sprecher has received the Eagle Scout badge in 2015, and he has received all 138 badges in scouting. Only 400 scouts in history have achieved this. Please join me in recognizing him. Thank you. Thank you, House.
Chair recognizes Chairman Welch and Representative Douglas for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the Henry County delegation join me down front? Thank you, guys. And gals.
Yeah.
My fellow members, thank you. Our visitors. We have leadership Henry down here today. We had a great group. I think they must have went over to the Senate, but we want to thank them for coming down to their house, and we appreciate them spending their time with us today. So if we can all give them a round of applause. I think they're going to the Senate, and thank you. I yield the well.
Chair recognizes Chairman Wes Cantrell for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, I want to introduce you to a special guest we have today visiting us. We have the ambassador from Belarus with us today, Mr. Pavel Shadlovsky. So, where are you, Ambassador Shadlovsky? You're up in the gallery? He's supposed to be up there. I don't see him. Here he comes now. Come on in. He's coming in. There he is, folks. Y'all welcome Ambassador Shadlovsky to the chamber today. Thank you for being here.
The chair is very, very happy to have here today. Gives me great joy. It's a day I look forward to every session to welcome the Leadership Fannin Group is in the gallery. I hope you'll help me make them welcome. Would y'all please stand? Chair wants to recognize on the floor a former member of this body, former State Representative Roberta Abdul Salam. We are about to go on to recognize some very distinguished guests we have with us today. I'll ask the clerk to read the caption to House Resolution 342.
House Resolution 342 by Representative Williams in the 148th, a resolution commending the Georgia Rural Health Association and recognizing February 27th, 2019 as Rural Health Day at the state capitol and for other purposes.
Chair recognizes Representative Noel Williams for an invite resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm delighted today to have Rural Health Care Day here in Georgia. Being a rural fellow myself, I'm proud to introduce these people to you today. We have Shelley Spires, we have Charles Owens, and Caroline Altman. Thank you so much.
Clerk will read the caption to House Resolution 189. We will come back to that one. Clerk will read the caption to House Resolution 155.
House Resolution 155 by Representative Cannon of the 58th, Metz of the 55th, Hobson of the 153rd, Thomas of the 56th, McLeod of the 106th, and others. A resolution recognizing and commending Chasten McCrary, the 2019 Miss Black Georgia USA, and for other purposes.
Chair recognizes Representative Cannon for an invite resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and good morning, colleagues. I am proud to bring to you, right before Black History Month ends, for us to think about the beauty pageant queens in the African American community. Today we have Miss Black Georgia and her family here, Miss McCrary. I would love for you to hear from her. Let's go ahead and listen in.
Good morning, everyone. Yes, thank you. I am so grateful to be here with you all today and grateful to receive this honor. It seems that just yesterday I was a Clayton County third grader here on a field trip touring this monumental building. 14 years later, I stand before you as Miss Black Georgia USA. With my title, I promise not only to guide our youth, but be a figure of inspiration and representation during a time where it is desperately needed. I leave you all with this scripture. Dear children, don't just talk about love, put love into action. Then it will truly be love. 1 John chapter 3, verse 18. I challenge us all to turn our love into action in order to make impactful changes. With that, I'm looking forward to representing our Peach State at our nation's capital competition, and I thank you all for this moment. God bless.
Clerk will read the caption to House Resolution 189.
House Resolution 189 by Representative Schofield of the 60th, Scott of the 76th, Rich of the 97th, Trammell of the 132nd, Cannon of the 58th. A resolution recognizing February 27, 2019 as Lupus Advocacy Day at the state capitol and for other purposes.
Chair recognizes Representative Schofield for a invite resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members of the House. I present to you one of my dear friends and advocates. He's the chair of the Lupus Foundation, Mr. Codell Jackson. I'd appreciate if you listen in. He's got something important to share.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. My name is Codell Jackson, and I'm an advocate for lupus. I'm a father, I'm a husband, but more importantly that, I'm an advocate for lupus. I'm an advocate because 2 years ago, my mother lost her battle with lupus. She was 57 years old. Over those 25 years of her battle, there was countless hospital visits, misdiagnosis, and doctors literally telling my mother that maybe there was some mental issues because a 30-year-old woman could not have rheumatoid arthritis and chronic pain. We're also faced with decisions of taking medication that would not heal her but treat the symptoms. But the choice was take the medication and your liver or your kidneys may go out, but these are the options. So I'm here asking for your continual support to help us find a cure for lupus, but also treat all the patients and help the families that are living with lupus. Lupus does not look the same to everyone. It does not treat everyone the same. But one thing is the same in lupus: without treatment and support from you all, these individuals will die an early death, just like my mother. Thank you for the time, and have a great day.
Clerk will read the caption to House Resolution 350.
House Resolution 350 by Representative Blackman of the 146th, Clark of the 147th, Marin of the 96th, Mathis of the 144th, and Dickey of the 140th. A resolution recognizing and commending Annie Jorgensen, Miss Georgia 2018, and for other purposes.
Chair recognizes Representative Marin, Chairman Heath Clark, and Chairman Shaw Blackman for an invite resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I want to make sure that we truly recognize Miss Georgia, a resident of District 96, and we're very proud of her in being Miss Georgia in the 96th District. I'm going to ask Representative Clark to read the bio for us.
Representative Marin's losing his voice. I just want to say over the last year, it's been an honor and pleasure to get to know Miss International City, who became Miss Georgia. Miss International City is from Warner Robins. And just being able to follow her social media, where she's been going around the state and promoting Georgia as not just she's been promoting a lot of the attractions, the hidden attractions in Georgia that people might not know about on her social media platform to bring more economic development and tourism to this state. And at this time, I'd like to honor and recognize Miss Georgia Annie Jorgensen.
Thank you. It truly has been an honor serving as Miss Georgia this year. My tenure goes from June to June, so we're kind of on the tail end of my year. But this year I've been so busy having Miss Georgia as my full-time job. As Representative Clark mentioned, I do tour the state with my YouTube series called Sweet Georgia Finds, highlighting the unique attractions that Georgia has to offer, hopefully to encourage economic development and local tourism around the state. But also, I am very, very passionate about promoting my platform, which is called Patch of Confidence, #IGotThis. And this year, the Girl Scouts of the USA have adopted this patch program into their family. So my program and my platform in this patch has gone from Georgia all the way to states such as New York and Texas and Oklahoma and all the way to Alaska. So I'm so proud to say that as a Georgia representative, I'm taking my message of self-confidence and spreading it all throughout the country. So I'm excited to continue to do that as my year as Miss Georgia continues. Thank you so much for having me here today, and have a great day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Clerk will read the caption to House Resolution 175.
House Resolution 175 by Representative Williamson of the 115th, Benton of the 31st, Douglas of the 78th, McCall of the 33rd, and Irwin of the 28th. A resolution recognizing and commending Coach Thomas T. McFerrin, and for other purposes.
Chair recognizes Representative Bruce Williamson and Chairman Tommy Benton for an invite resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, you know, in North Carolina and Kentucky, they talk about basketball, high school basketball and college basketball. But in Georgia, we talk about high school football and SEC. But on that note, today we're here to honor one of the Georgia high school coaching legends. Just last week, Coach Thomas T. McFerrin was introduced into the Georgia Sports Hall of Fame, and let me tell you why. His career spanned 5 different decades in Georgia high school football. So chances are that Coach T coached someone in your family or someone that you know. And if you're a hardcore football fan, a high school football fan like I know many of you are, you have definitely heard of him. We'll talk about the 1960s and the race relations in the state of Georgia. And right here, I want to introduce one of the heroes of that time. Coach T was not only a leader in building successful teams, as during that time, historically, black and white high school teams were consolidating. I'm telling you, if you lived through it, it was tough, no matter how open-minded and how hard you were trying to make things work. But leaders like Coach T forged relationships, built teams, taught kids how to work together, and I'm a living testimony to the fact that the friendships between that were built in my generation in particular, the built bridges of teamwork and friendships that last throughout our state today. I can promise you that's the case in Walton County. The combined record of 8 Georgia schools that McFerrin coached prior to his arrival was 34, 46, and 1. Their record in the first year under Coach McFerrin was 65, 23, and 1. He turned it around and made winners. His record of 340 to 102 and 4 ranked him 4th all-time in wins for Georgia coaches when he retired in 2013. He won 10 or more games 18 times. He had 10 undefeated regular seasons. He won a total of 13 region championships, 7 of which were at different Georgia schools. That's a state record. He coached 7 different schools to the state quarterfinals, a state record. He coached 5 different schools to the state semifinals, a state record. He coached 4 different schools to the state finals, a state record. He had 2 second-place finishes with Lithonia in 1969 and Peachtree in 1982. He won 2 state championships, Elbert County in 1995 and Jefferson in 2012. Neither school had ever won a state championship. His accolades are numerous. He was named Atlanta Journal Coach of the Year 3 times. He was named Atlanta Touchdown Coach Club of the Year. He was named Atlanta Falcons Lifetime Achievement Award winner in 2013. He also coached Tucker High School's boys tennis teams to successive state championships in the late 80s. But I want y'all to hear me, but with all these unbelievable successes, one almost unbelievable fact remains. None of his players went on to careers in the NFL. Coach T took common kids, some of whom were more talented than others, and built teams that learned how to work together for the common goal of winning. And in all of these football successes, he has made and continues to make a difference in the lives of our young people. I've never met anyone more goal-focused, kind-hearted, and caring than Coach T. McFerrin. He is a Christian man who lives his faith. Help me welcome a Georgia High School coaching legend, Coach T. McFerrin. Thank you, Coach.
I want to thank Representative Bruce Williamson and Representative Tommy Benton for this great honor. But I also know that I would not be standing here this morning without many people and places that God has put into my life. And I thank the good Lord for that. Thank you so much.
We are going on to the rules calendar. All members in the chamber will please take your seats. We have a number of bills on the calendar to consider today, some important measures. Clerk will read the caption to House Resolution 214.
House Resolution 214 by Representative Watson of the 172nd, Ralston of the 7th, England of the 116th, Fowler of the 171st, Bentley of the 139th, and others. A resolution reauthorizing the Rural Health Development Council and for other purposes. This resolution having been referred to the Committee on Economic Development and Tourism, that committee recommends that this resolution be adopted.
Chair recognizes Chairman Sam Watson to present the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, I do bring before you today H.R. 214. This bill is to reauthorize the Rural Development Council for another 2 years. It was just 2 years ago that our Speaker charged this council to adopt the motto of the founding fathers of this great state, which is not for self but for others. And that is what this council has done as they have traveled across this state and created ripple effects throughout rural Georgia. Some due to legislation, some just due to traveling our state and meeting with people in their communities and hearing about their problems and working through those problems. It has been a phenomenal thing for rural Georgia. We want to do it again for 2 years. We would appreciate your support. And Mr. Speaker, I'll yield for questions if there are any.
You have no questions.
Thank you very much.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the adoption of the resolution? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this resolution now be adopted? All those in favor of the adoption of the resolution will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the adoption of House Resolution 214, the ayes are 164, the nays are 1. This resolution, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore adopted. Chair wants to thank the members of this body for renewing one of the most important initiatives to come out of this House in generations for people who care about the future of rural Georgia. So thank you very much for that vote. Clerk will read the caption to House Bill 322.
House Bill 322 by Representative McCall of the 33rd, Powell of the 32nd, Fleming of the 121st, Gravely the 67th, Trammell of the 132nd. Be titled an act to amend Title 36 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to local government so as to change provisions relating to the advertisement of certain bid or proposal opportunities. This bill having referred to the Committee on Governmental Affairs, that committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Chair recognizes the chair of the Agriculture and Consumer Affairs Committee, Chairman McCall, to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Last year we passed House Bill 489, which gives all the contractors and all a fair shake by the way the local governments and school boards advertise on a DOAS procurement registry. However, when we did that, we left one of the numbers at 10,000 and we should have moved it to 100,000, and that's all this bill does. Is change the 10,000 on goods and services to 100,000. All the advertisements, everything still stays the same. Contractors and GMA and ACCG and the school boards are all behind it, so I appreciate you voting for it.
You have No questions. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of House Bill 322 will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines on the passage of House Bill 322. The ayes are 166, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Okay. Clerk will read the caption to House Bill 213.
House Bill 213 by Representative Corbett of the 174th, McCall of the 33rd, Pruitt of the 149th, Gilliard of the 162nd, Dickey of the 140th, and others. To be entitled an act to amend Title II of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to agriculture so as to enact the Georgia Hemp Farming Act. This bill I refer to the Committee on Agriculture and Consumer Affairs. That committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Chair recognizes Chairman Corbett to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, members of the committee, members of the House. I bring before you this morning House Bill 213. I've got several pages written, but I've been advised to keep it short. Basically, we had a study committee over the summer. We've met all over the state. The committee recommended moving forward and legalizing the cultivation of industrial hemp here in Georgia to give our farmers the opportunity to compete with the 41 other states that have already are cultivating hemp in their states. The 2018 Farm Bill that was just signed into law removed industrial hemp from being a Schedule I narcotic. It's no longer illegal to grow on a federal level. But it also made provisions in there for the states to apply for a license or a permit from the USDA to be able to grow it here in the state. And that's what House Bill 213 does. It sets up parameters for us to go by in applying for the permit to be able to grow it here in Georgia. We've had much testimony in Ag Committee. I've had many of you come to me on the floor and ask questions about the bill. I'm willing to take questions now. If anybody has any questions, it passed unanimously at the Ag Committee. We had a lot of questions and rules, and we've tried to answer all those. But at this time, Mr. Speaker, I will yield for questions if there are any.
You do not have any questions. The gentleman has yielded the well. Chair recognizes Chairman Dickey to speak to the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Speaker. I'll be brief, but as a member of this study committee and as a farmer, this is a great bill, and I hope you'll support it. Georgia is a very diverse agricultural state, all the way from apples in North Georgia to peaches in Middle Georgia to blueberries. And this is another tool in the belt of farmers that we can diversify. I think it'll be great. Georgia's got great agricultural industry, and this will strengthen it. So I hope you'll support this bill. Thank you very much.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee substitute? The chair hears none. The committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of House Bill 213 will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the passage of House Bill 213. The ayes are 163. The nays are 3. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Clerk will read the caption to House Bill 310.
House Bill 310 by Representative Morris, the 156 to be titled an act to amend Code Section 332459.1 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to insurance coverage for autism. This bill having referred to the Committee on Insurance, that committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Chair recognizes Chairman Greg Morris to present the bill.
Austin, estimable colleagues, House Bill 310 is, and I know you've heard it before, but this is a simple bill that does one thing and one thing only. Now that I've got your attention, because when somebody tells you that, you should listen. But all this does is to change the date to when we report the claims for autism coverage from January the 15th to June the 15th. Currently, they're having to do 2 reports because of the lag in the insurance claims. This would be 1 report and 1 accurate report June the 15th. It does not add to coverage. It does not delete coverage. It has nothing to do with autism coverage, only changing the date in which the insurance commissioner reports the claims by statute. Well, Speaker, that's my talk. If there's any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
You do not have any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I appreciate your favorable consideration for House Bill 310.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of House Bill 310 will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines on the passage of House Bill 310. The ayes are 167. The nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Clerk will read the caption to House Bill 187.
House Bill 187 by Representative Dempsey, the 13th, Cooper, the 43rd, Newton, the 123rd, Jones, the 53rd, Hatch, the 150th, to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 2 of Title 31 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to the Department of Community Health so as to provide for a pilot program to provide coverage for the treatment and management of obesity. This bill having referred to the Committee on Health and Human Services, that committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Chair recognizes Chairman Katie Dempsey to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I bring to you another bill today that deals with the burden that we face of obesity and overweight participants in our state health benefit plan. In the summer of 2017, a study was conducted which showed that 70% of those members deal with obesity and overweight challenges. It's a very expensive burden to take care of the other factors that come besides being overweight. Heart disease, diabetes, hypertension, arthritis, obesity-related cancer, sleep apnea, gallbladder disease, and many other issues which take into account joints that are overstressed have to be operated on and replaced at times. It's a very expensive challenge. This is another opportunity for us to look at a pilot, very controlled pilot of 250 employees or members a year for 3 years to go through a FDA-approved medical pilot that is backed up with wellness as well as counseling. We are dealing with those who have high disease burdens and low ability to pay, all of our chronic diseases. Mr. Speaker, I will yield, and if there are any questions, I'll be glad to take them.
You have no questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well and ask for your favorable support.
The lady has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of the bill will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the passage of House Bill 187. The ayes are 148, the nays are 14. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Clerk will read the caption to House Bill 319, which was postponed from yesterday's rules calendar at the request of the author and carried forward until today. House Bill 319.
House Bill 319 by Representative Noel Williams of the 148th, Hogan of the 179th, Gilliard of the 162nd, Belton of the 112th, Gravely of the 67th, and others, be titled an act to amend Article 6 of Chapter 7 of Title 47 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to retirement, retirement allowances, disability benefits, and death benefits relative to the Georgia Firefighters Pension Fund. This bill have referred to Committee on Retirement. That committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Chair recognizes I didn't realize you were a member of the House. I thought you were just visiting today. Chair, the gentleman obviously has not been to the well before and may not get to come back if he goes up there like that. Chair recognizes Representative Noel Williams to present the bill.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Like the author said, this is House Bill 319. What this does is if someone has not selected a beneficiary for either their retirement benefits or their death benefit or for their pension, then this would go to the estate of that said person. Most of the people in the Fireman's Trust Fund have already selected a beneficiary, but this just is for ones who have not selected a beneficiary. This would go to the estate. And this is a $5,000 benefit is the maximum. And like I said, it's House Bill 319. And with that, I yield the well, Mr. Speaker. Or any questions, Mr. Speaker?
You sure you've said enough?
I hope so.
Well, let's find out.
Yes, sir.
You yield for questions?
Yes, sir.
Chair recognizes Chairman Blackman to your left for a question.
Does the gentleman yield?
I yield.
I notice that on this piece of legislation, we do not have an effective date. Are you sure that this will be effective
Well,
at some point in time?
I assume if it passes the House and passes the Senate, it will be effective once the governor signs it.
Assume is a bit of a risky proposition.
The gentleman knows what he speaks.
Great bill.
Thank you.
Do you further yield?
Yes, sir.
Oh, this ought to be good. Chair recognizes Representative Al Williams from Liberty County for a question to your left.
Will the gentleman yield?
I certainly do.
I was a little concerned, having heard you many times in the anteroom headed toward the donuts. You do know that there's nothing wrong with speaking into that mic where we can hear about your bill?
Yes, sir.
As a junior member of the Williams Caucus, we'll have to talk about that.
I look forward to that, sir.
Do you further yield?
Yes, sir, I do.
Chair recognizes the Majority Leader of the House for a question.
Does the gentleman yield?
I do.
Just to follow up on my friend's question from the coast, we're sitting right here pretty close.
Yes, sir.
Did you say this benefit would be paid to the state or to the
No, sir,
estate?
to the estate, to the estate of the said person.
Thank you very much for the clarification.
Yes.
Makes a difference, doesn't it?
Sometimes I don't speak very clearly.
Chair recognizes Representative Bentley to your left for a question.
Thank you, Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
I certainly do.
Can you explain to the Funeral Home Caucus exactly how this bill is going to impact the funeral industry?
Yes, ma'am, I'll do my best. If the said person does not have a beneficiary when he or she might pass on, then that money would go to that person's estate, whereby the funeral home could get their money if the family did not want to pay. So I would think you would be happy with this.
Well, I'd be happy if the funeral home can have an assignment to ensure that we get our money.
How about I sell a lot more life insurance in Dooley County to make sure that takes place?
Well, thank you. Thank you. Just want to make sure we're looking out for the funeral industry. Thank you for your work
Thank
on
you,
this
Ms. Bentley.
legislation.
I yield the will.
Do you continue to yield?
No, sir, that's it. I yield the will.
In the nick of time. Yield the will means leave. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of House Bill 319 will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines. On the passage of House Bill 319, the ayes are 168, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Clerk will read the caption to House Resolution 239.
House Resolution 239 by Representative Stevens in the 164th, a resolution designating the Savannah Logistics Technology Innovation Corridor as an official technology innovation corridor in Georgia. This resolution having been referred to the Committee on Special Rules, that committee recommends that this resolution be adopted.
Chair recognizes Chairman Ron Stevens to present the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Resolution 239 does only one thing. It expands the boundaries of the Technology Innovation Corridor in Georgia to be designated as the Savannah Logistics Technology Innovation Corridor. We have, of course, the key word here is logistics. The port's supporting more than 500,000 jobs all across the state. And we inadvertently, whenever we drew the corridor out, originally left out the university system, and we don't want to do that. So this draws them in. If there's any questions, I'll take those. If not, I'll yield the well.
You have no questions. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the adoption of the resolution? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this resolution now be adopted? All those in favor of the adoption of the resolution will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the adoption of House Resolution 239. The ayes were 161, the nays were 1. This resolution, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore adopted. Clerk will read the caption to House Bill 341.
House Bill 341 by Representative Dollar, the 45th, Fry, the 118th, Stevens, the 164th, Hawkins, the 27th, Werkheiser, the 157th, and others, to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 16.860 of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated, relating to the reproduction of recorded material. This bill having referred to the Committee on Judiciary Non-Civil. That committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Chair recognizes Chairman Dollar to present the bill.
Thank you, Speaker. HB 341 is an update to Georgia's piracy code. Currently, if you reproduce copyrighted material on a CD or any physical device, that's illegal. This expands it to electronic devices like thumb drives and hard drives. This simply mirrors federal code, and if this measure sounds familiar, it's because it is. We passed this out overwhelmingly last year. It was on the calendar, day 40 over in the Senate, and was one of those that just ran out of time. So that's the bill. If you have any questions, I'll take them.
You have no questions.
Thank you, Speaker.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of House Bill 341 will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines on the passage of House Bill 341. The ayes are 162, the nays are 3. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Clerk will read the caption to House Bill 33.
House Bill 33 by Representative Lumsden of the 12th, Hitchens the 161st, Powell the 32nd, Prince the 127th, Glant the 75th, and others, be titled an act to amend Code Section 1611-129 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to weapons carry licenses, gun safety information, and temporary renewal permits. This bill having referred to the Committee on Public Safety and Homeland Security. That committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Chair recognizes Chairman Lumsden to present the bill.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker, members of the House. I bring to you House Bill 33, a bill that deals with active duty military personnel and the renewal of a weapons carry permit. Under current law, there is no provision for the renewal of a weapons carry permit after it expires. When a Georgia resident who is a member of our armed forces is deployed on active duty outside the state and his or her weapons carry permit expires, then they have to reapply, be re-fingerprinted, go through background checks, and pay the application fee all over again. Since they have to be physically present to reapply, they would not be able to carry legally until they are returned to the state from active duty and are able to do so. I think this is an added burden to our military men and women and sends the wrong message about our appreciation for their service. House Bill 33 will keep the permit in force and provide for a 6-month grace period upon return to the state from active duty and allow for renewal of the permit instead of having them to reapply. This process is identical to the way that we treat driver's license and professional licensures for our military men and women. The language is the same. Mr. Speaker, members of the committee, that's the bill, and I'll be glad to answer any questions you might have.
You have no questions.
Thank you. I'd appreciate your favorable consideration.
Chair recognizes the minority. I'm sorry, you did have some questions. Do you yield? Popped up here a little late.
Yes, sir. I'll yield.
Chair recognizes Representative Cannon to your left for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Do you yield?
I do.
Thank you. Can you help me understand why their license would be expired? Is it specifically due to active deployment, or is this for another reason?
No, the license when the license expires, it cannot be renewed. It can only be renewed if it is renewed prior to the expiration date. So anyone whose license expires cannot renew that license. They have to go back through the reapplication process. The reapplication process, of course, involves several more steps and costs more to be able to get that license back. So for our military men and women who are deployed out of the state of Georgia and it expires while they are out of the state of Georgia, this simply provides them with the ability to continue as though it had not expired, and gives them up to 6 months from the time they return to the state of Georgia to be able to renew as opposed to having to reapply.
Thank you. So this allows for them to renew instead of having to reapply?
Correct.
And then this does not allow for them to carry before they renew, correct?
It continues, even when they expire, it continues the ability for them to carry just as though it were still valid. The requirements in the bill point to having to have a copy of orders on their person with them, or a letter from the commanding officer that specifies that at the time that is their status.
Do you yield for one more question?
I do.
And so does this extend for them to use that weapon as it relates to their military duties, or to use it as a private citizen?
As a private citizen. Has
Thank
nothing
you.
to do with their military duties.
Do you further yield?
I do.
Chair recognizes Representative Shannon to your right for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have some questions about your bill. The bill does not, on lines 30 and 36, the bill doesn't talk about what type of discharge. And so the questions I have, it doesn't talk about if the discharge is honorable, dishonorable, or medical. They can carry a gun from 6 months from the point of discharge. And at least some of the mass shootings that we've had have been by former service members who've experienced some things in service that have created some mental health issues. So my question is, wouldn't this bill be putting the safety of the public at risk? Because you're kind of creating a loophole for service members to carry a gun, and it doesn't talk about what type of discharge they experienced, like how they left the service.
When they return from the state, when they return from active duty, they may not be discharged. They are simply returning to what is referred to as a zone of the interior. They're simply returning to the state that they reside in. They may or may not, they're returning from their deployment, but they may still be on active duty.
Right, but your bill says on line 36, it says, such expired license for a period of 6 months from the date of his or her discharge. So you're right, they don't have to be discharged, but your bill allows for 6 months of carrying with an expired license. They can carry a gun from 6 months of discharge, and it doesn't talk about what type of discharge. So wouldn't it create a loophole for folks who are discharged for a dishonorable discharge? Maybe they committed a crime in the military. Maybe they have mental health issues and are needing to be discharged, because regular folks walking around trying to get a gun license, if they're under criminal proceedings or if they've been charged or convicted of a felony, can't get a gun license. So isn't this creating a loophole?
If the lady thinks so, that's her opinion. I don't see that.
That's the way the bill reads. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Do you further yield?
One more.
Chair recognizes Representative Chokas to your left for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
I yield.
Thank you. Isn't it true that the individual that has the carry permit already has a permit?
That is correct.
And isn't it also true that the permit has a 5-year expiration, and that any time prior to the 5 years, you can renew it? And isn't it also true that for active duty military personnel, when they're overseas, when they're serving our nation honorably overseas and do not have access to the local probate court to renew their license, we're simply providing them an opportunity, since they have no control of where their physical location is?
Correct.
Thank you for carrying this bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well.
Gentleman has yielded the well. Chair recognizes the Minority Leader of the House, Leader Trammell, to speak to the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You know, I rise today to talk about this bill, which the intent of it is a common sense measure for people who are serving and they cannot renew their weapons carry license permit because they are physically absent due to serving our country. I think everyone in this body can agree that that makes sense, that people who are serving our country should not be penalized simply because they are absent. And having spoken with the sponsor, he has indicated a willingness to work to fix this issue, because we should have conversations that are common sense about guns. But let me tell you what happens when we talk about guns in this body and bodies throughout this country. The inclination and tendency is to retreat to corners on the issue of guns or to avoid the topic altogether. And the fact is, the public is expecting us to have conversations about common sense, responsible gun ownership measures. And if you look at this bill, it has bipartisan sponsorship. It has Republicans and Democrats. The heart and core of this isn't a Republican or Democratic issue. This is an American issue about what it means to be an American and what it means to serve our country and what it means with respect to your right to carry arms. The point I want to make is there are other measures that this body also needs to consider that are introduced in this General Assembly that are also common sense, responsible gun ownership measures that the public supports, that they want to have debated on this floor. And the reality is that the overwhelming majority of members in this body could agree upon. So when it comes to issues like this, let's have these conversations. Let's open these measures, get them on the floor. Things like closing the loophole that allows people who have been on the registry for involuntary civil commitment to automatically get purged after 5 years. That's not something that makes sense. That's something that we could do to fix this. Things like making sure that we have the best available technology that we can use on fingerprints when we do weapons carry license permits so that we don't have this issue about whether people are at one time in a snapshot have committed a crime in some other state and we don't know it. That's what Georgians expect us to do. So, Mr. Speaker, on the gentleman's commitment to work on this bill to get the language right, and on the intention of trying to do something that makes sense, I'm going to vote in support of this bill. And I'm going to ask colleagues of any persuasion in this General Assembly, let's work together to bring responsible gun ownership measures before this body and pass them for a safer Georgia. Mr. Speaker, I yield the well.
Gentleman has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of House Bill 33 will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. What purpose does Chairman Martin rise? State your inquiry.
Isn't it true, Mr. Speaker, that on line 36, to clear it up if anybody has a question, it reads his or her discharge from active duty. It does not speak to a discharge from the military, which the lady questioned about is discharge from active duty. And it also talks about an expired license, not one that would have been revoked should there have been an adjudication in the military that would yield to a dishonorable discharge. Isn't that true, Mr. Speaker?
If the gentleman so states, I don't have a copy of the bill immediately at hand, but I trust the gentleman's reading. What purpose does Representative McLeod rise? She waves. What purpose does Representative Wilkerson rise?
Parliamentarian Craig, is it not true that while line 36, a simple change could possibly be, say, honorable discharge, adding the word honorable, if that was even mentioned, that it might encourage some of us to vote yes? And until the Representative Shannon had mentioned this, I had not noticed that. So it would have cleared it up by saying honorable, and I would have been a green instead of a red.
The gentleman so states. I know he knows that or believes that to be true. What purpose does Representative Morris rise?
Parliamentary
State your inquiry.
Mr. Speaker, is it not true that Georgia's 48th Brigade is currently deployed in harm's way, and that we should look after these troops and make their return as easy as possible?
I think that is true.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
What purpose does Chairman Heath Clark rise?
Parliamentary
State
inquiry.
your inquiry.
Isn't it true that the term honorably discharged refers to a member of the military leaving the military and not simply returning from active duty overseas defending this country, coming back to their permanent change of station?
I believe that to be true. What purpose does Representative Shannon rise?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Parliamentary
State your inquiry.
Isn't it true that what I said about discharge doesn't matter if you're talking about really exiting the military? Discharge for any reason, there are many reasons that you may be discharged, and all of those things could still apply. And it's creating a public safety loophole.
I'm sure the lady believes that to be true, and I think that would address
Mr.
itself
Speaker.
to each and every member in here. Okay, have all members now voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines on the passage of House Bill 33. The ayes are 148, nays are 20. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. The clerk will read the caption to House Bill 171.
House Bill 171 by Representative Barr, the 103rd, Powell, the 32nd, Pruitt of the 149th, Cook of the 18th, Hitchens of the 161st. Be titled an act to amend Part 4 of Article 1 of Chapter 8 of Title 40. Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to horns, exhaust systems, mirrors, windshields, and so as to allow the use of mounts on windshields of motor vehicles for the support of wireless telecommunication devices. This bill has been referred to the Committee on Public Safety and Homeland Security. That committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Chair recognizes Chairman Timothy Barr to present the bill.
Thank you, sir. I had initially prepared to say good morning, colleagues, but after the last bill, it is good afternoon, colleagues. We are looking at a very common sense piece of legislation this morning. After the hands-free law of last year, requiring folks not to touch their cell phones, many folks went out and purchased devices that would attach to your windshield to hold your wireless device. It is currently illegal to do so. I just want to reiterate, it is currently illegal to affix anything to your windshield. So this common sense piece of legislation simply removes that and allows you to now put something to your windshield in such a manner as to minimize obstruction of the driver's view. Very straightforward bill. I hope you would join me in supporting all of our drivers in this bill. I yield for any questions, Mr. Speaker.
You do not have any questions.
Thank you, sir.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of House Bill 171 will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines. On the passage of House Bill 171, the ayes are 166, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. House will continue to be at order. House will continue to be at order. We've got a little bit more business to take care of. Did you find it? House will be at order. House will be at order. The chair would ask the clerk to read House Rule 141.
Rule 141. Each member shall vote from such member's own seat when the yeas and nays are taken by electric roll call, and during such vote no person shall be allowed upon the floor of the House except the members and those persons provided for in these rules.
Clerk will read the caption to a group of privileged resolutions.
Recognizing and commending Justice Leah Ward Sears on her outstanding public service as a trailblazer in Georgia Black history. Recognizing and commending the National Association of Women Business Owners. Recognizing the historic Atlantic Southeast Airlines Flight Crew 5202. Recognizing and commending the Georgia aerospace industry for its significant beneficial impact for the people and economy of the state of Georgia. Recognizing February 12, 2019 as Georgia Federation of Democratic Women in Blue Day at the state capitol. Commending and congratulating Agnes Slater. Recognizing and commending Tim Crockett. Commending Corporal Quinn Fogel, the Georgia Department of Natural Resources Law Enforcement Division 2018 Investigative Game Warden of the Year. Commending Asia Huffman, Fairview Elementary Schools 2018-2019 Teacher of the Year. Commending the Georgia peanut industry and recognizing March 4, 2019 as Peanut Butter and Jelly Day at the state capitol. And for other purposes, that completes the reading of the privilege resolutions.
Is there any objection to adopting the privilege resolutions? The chair hears none, and the resolutions are adopted. We have some birthdays today. Listen up, we have 4 birthdays. Please help me wish a happy birthday to Representative Vance Smith. And a happy birthday to Representative Matthew Gamble. Happy birthday to Representative Beth Moore. And last and certainly not least, happy birthday to my friend, the minority leader of this house, Leader Trammell. We have a number of announcements. If you have signed up for an announcement, please make your way to the front of the chamber. Chair recognizes Chairman Corbett for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Environmental Quality Subcommittee of the Natural Resources Committee will meet in room 341 at 1 o'clock. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Representative McLean for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Georgia AFL-CIO is having a legislative dinner and discussion this afternoon at the IBEW building at 6:13 from 5 to 7 tonight. So if you get a chance, please go by the IBEW building. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Chairman Werkheiser for an announcement.
The Industry and Labor Committee is meeting today at 2:30, not 3, so 2:30 in CLOB 506. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Chairman Beverly for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The House Democratic Caucus will meet tomorrow at 8 a.m. in room 216. 8 a.m. House Democratic Caucus tomorrow. Thank you, Speaker.
Chair recognizes Chairman Watson for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Rural Caucus is having lunch today, right now. We've got Rural Health folks and the Cable Association. Look forward to seeing you there. Be quick. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Representative Wilkerson for an announcement. Chair recognizes Chairman England for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm not coming to tell anyone we have a 7 or 7:30 meeting in the morning. Just merely reminding you that the budget documents are on your desk. They went on there this morning. Hang on to those. Those will be the copy that we'll be walking through tomorrow as the bill is on the floor. And again, if you have any questions, come see myself, any of the subcommittee chairs, or our staff. We're glad to help you. Thank you.
Chair recognizes the Chairman of the Rules Committee, Chairman Powell, for an announcement.
State and Local Government Subcommittee of the Governmental Affairs Committee will meet at 1:30, not 1 o'clock, but 1:30 at 406 CLOB.
Chair recognizes Chairman Green for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The State Properties Committee will meet at 2 o'clock
in room 403. One bill, it'll be fast, and we're taking roll.
Chair recognizes Chairman Dollar for an announcement.
Thank you, Speaker. The Entertainment Working Group will not be meeting today. There was a meeting on the calendar, but we will not be meeting.
Chair recognizes Chairman Hawkins for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Budget and Fiscal Affairs will meet today at 2 o'clock and 5:06. We have one bill, so you'll be in and out. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Chairman Ballinger for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your Juvenile Justice Committee meeting is going to be today at 1 o'clock in room 415. Thank you very much.
Chair recognizes Representative Anulowicz for an announcement.
Good afternoon, everyone. The Cobb Legislative Delegation is going to meet upon adjournment in CLOB 415. Chairman Boyce is joining us. Thank you.
Chair recognizes the Majority Caucus Whip, Representative Kelly, for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. First, the Kelly Subcommittee of the House Judiciary Committee will meet at 2 o'clock today in room 133. Second, the Majority Caucus will have a breakfast, a whip's breakfast tomorrow morning in room 133, where Chairman England will be there to discuss the budget. Look forward to having y'all.
Chair recognizes Representative Bennett for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. First, I would like to thank everyone who attended the GLBC Heritage Dinner last evening. And also, the GLBC will be meeting today at 3 o'clock in room 514. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Representative Carpenter for an announcement. Waves. Chair recognizes Chairman Harrell for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, yesterday's two Ways and Means Subcommittee hearings, sales tax and ad valorem, will be scheduled today. Sales tax will meet at 1:30 in room 133. Ad valorem will meet at 2 in 133, and the full committee will meet at 3 o'clock. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Chairman Alan Powell for an announcement.
Election Subcommittee meeting of the General Government will meet in room 406 at LOB at 3 o'clock. Thank you.
Chair takes note that we have no further announcements. Chair recognizes the Majority Leader of the House for a motion.
Mr. Speaker, I move that this House stand in recess until 4 p.m. today and then stand adjourned until 10 a.m. Thursday, February the 28th, 2019.
The Majority Leader has moved that this House be in recess until 4 o'clock p.m. today and then stand adjourned until Thursday, February 28 at 10 a.m. All those in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed will say no. The ayes have it. This House will be in recess until 4 p.m. and then will be adjourned until Thursday, February 28 at 10 a.m.